Good morning, everyone. Glad you could join us for coffee again. Sure hope you had a nice week and a nice weekend. I pray that you always have good prayer weekends and weeks. Once again, I ask you to remember our retired Vincentians in Perryville, Missouri, especially those in need of healing. And speaking of healing, we have friends in the mission who need our prayers for healing. And I'd like you to remember Allison and Anne and Karen, Loretta, Louise, Sharon, Pat. And also like you to remember Brian and Bill and Clarence, and Leonard, Ralph, Stan, and their need of God's healing. And so we ask you to remember them in your prayers. My reflection today is still about what I remember from yesterday. Yesterday it was World Mission Sunday, and it's always the second last October and Sunday in October, and it's special to me because in many ways the work that I do is being a missionary in the United States. And so when we celebrate World Mission Sunday, I kind of look to our Holy Father because he has an address every year. And his address this year for World Mission Sunday was this. He wanted us to focus on witnessing as missionaries. And his talk and his presentation was all about, being a witness, not just preaching, not just evangelizing, but witness to what you're preaching. And so his focus was on witnessing. And he ended up even quoting from the Old Testament, from the book of Numbers, when Moses said, I wish all the people of God were prophets. And Francis has that same interest that we would all be prophets and witnesses. And Francis says that comes from our baptism. So in many ways, we're all called to be a missionary in some form. But I reflect on his call for us to witness. Today is the feast of a missionary, St. Anthony Mary Claret. And he's the one who founded the Claretian, the Order of Claretians, which were missionary. His name of the order originally was Missionary Sons of Blessed Virgin Mary. They're Claretians. And Anthony Mary Claret, he was from Spain, grew up in Spain, very poor family, and got ordained, was a preacher. He was sent to Cuba from Spain. He missioned in Cuba. And as missionaries faced often in their life, they were attacked for their proclaiming faith. And he was attacked. It's a fascinating story about him. He was attacked by a knife. He survived. But he took a lot of time to forgive the man who attacked him. He even worked to try to get his sentence reduced. So he, as a missionary, he witnessed to forgiveness. Didn't just preach it. He witnessed to it. And I believe that's the call of all of us. That, and I know that's the biggest challenge to me, live what you preach. That's what Jesus did. That's why he was the best. Because he lived what he taught. He witnessed to it. And I see why Francis, focused on the idea of witness. Because, there are a lot of signs you can give that you do stuff or what's important, but until you live it, it's hard for people to accept that. And I was thinking about, this guy went to his reunion, and he was in the Army, and at his reunion, he wore his uniform, and he had these medals. And one of his buddies went up to him and he said, I didn't realize you were that great of a hero with all those medals. He started laughing. He said, well, I got to tell you, the big one that I have was a mistake. And I got all the other ones because I had the big one. So he probably didn't witness as much as he proclaimed. And the witness is not that big of a deal. It's not hard to witness being kind, to let people see that that's a real value in life. I looked as Jesus lived what he preached. God, he was kind, compassionate, caring. It was always him asking questions, what do you need? Can I help you? So that the missionary who witnesses to what he preaches, that's the real missioner. And that's what I look at a lot in my own life. And I think all of us, we're all called to witness to the good news. And as Francis quoted, Moses, which everybody was a prophet, and then witness what the prophecy is. Anyway, my reflection is for all of us to be witnesses. And also today, as we honor Anthony Mary Claret and the founder of the Claretians, that we pay a debt of gratitude to God for all the missionaries who have given their life in witnessing to their faith. Once again, we always turn to God for all those needs that we have, and I invite you to take out your mission prayer and let us say together for the miracles that we need. Divine Savior, transform me into yourself. May my hands be your hands. May my tongue be your tongue. Grant that every faculty of my body may serve only to glorify you. Above all, transform my soul and all its powers, that my memory, my will, and my affections may be the memory, the will, and the affections of you. I pray you to destroy in me all that is not of you. Grant that I may live but in you, and by you, and for you, and that I may truly say with St. Paul, I live now, not I, but Christ lives in me. God bless. Glad you tuned in. Stay safe. Check our website out on Wednesdays, and hope to see you again next Monday.